Yeah, that's right. I see the chat. I see y'all rocking. I see y'all coming. Hit that like button as you enter the building. You know what I'm saying? Hit that like button. Show your love. Show your support. You know what I'm saying? This that dope soul. This that new thing. Nobody don't know about it.
Hello, Nick family. Welcome to the morning recap show. I'm your host, Stephanie, aka Queen, and as always, we have a lot to talk about. The New York Knicks were dead in the water last night, down 20, then down 15. I was already, while I was taking my notes for this show, I was already getting my points together for a loss. And out of nowhere, as Jeff would say, like Lazarus, the Knicks rose from from the dead. Listen, we're gonna talk about starting Mitch, which I think helped get us off to a good start and not dig a hole for ourselves. We're gonna talk about Shamit and Wright and the defensive contributions that they made. We're gonna talk about Deuce, who, if you look at the stats, you're not gonna see it, had a phenomenal game. However, this is what I want to say. The Knicks won that game because they woke up, stepped up, and became more of who they were. I didn't know who this team was. Even with the starting lineup, even with Wright and Shamit, in terms of our main players, where were they? Right? Then they started looking like themselves. Hart started getting massive rebounds. I'm like, oh, all right. This is the guy I know. OG started hitting some, well, he hit some timely shots for us. Cat looked like Cat in the fourth quarter, and we'll talk about him more. I don't think I was more frustrated with a player ever in the first half than I was with Cat last night. But in that fourth quarter, he was phenomenal. We didn't even get the Brunson burner. And that was another thing when I'm writing my notes for this impending loss. I'm like, yo, where's Brunson? Understand he was in foul trouble. And that could have threw off his rhythm. I get that. But still, I didn't think that he was as aggressive when he was in the game. Kudos to Thibodeau for keeping that starting lineup in the fourth quarter and just leaving Brunson on the bench and rocking with what works. Anyway, we'll get into all of it, but my main point was I feel like a big reason we won this game was because some of the starters started looking like themselves in this series, and I thought they were basically shell shocked since game one. Anyway, Jeff, how are you? Yeah, Jeff didn't even put anything in the chat when we was losing. How you doing?
Well,
Uh,
so I have to start with a story. This was the craziest night ever. So on Sundays, I always go visit my dad uh, and hang out with him for a little while. And so I did that, and he doesn't have access to the Knick game, and he doesn't want to watch it even if he did. So I didn't leave his house until like 7:30. So I missed the entire first quarter and a half, I would guess, of the game. But there's two things that West Texas is known for: their beef brisket and their thunderstorms. So I was sitting there stewing when we were down by 20, and I was aggravated because at the half, Charles and Shaq were, laughing it up and, actively making fun of us. And then we go on that run, and the Knicks are up 2, and we have thunderstorms outside, and there's a tornado warning. And so the power goes off with 2 minutes to go.
in the game?
In the game.
Oh, wow.
With the Knicks ahead, I'm panicking. I'm like, no, I'm missing the end of the game. And so I'm frantically, but my boys and my wife are up in Virginia with my mom, and they're just having a vacation. I couldn't go because I had to work, which is fine. But so I figured Jeb would be paying attention to it. So I called, but my phone call wouldn't go through. And so I went downstairs and I'm like, I knew that this power wasn't coming back on at least until the lightning stopped, and it
Right.
was, I mean, just a West Texas thunder boomer. And so finally Jeb calls me back on my cell phone, and he talks me through the end of the game. The Knicks were up, they were up 2, and Brunson was going to the line, I think, for the 2 free throws that put us up 4, and then Hart, but he called the end of the game like a radio guy for me, because that's how insane that was. So I'm sorry to take up.
That's fine. That's fine.
I thought that was kind of a funny story about a crazy night at MSG. I mean, not at MSG, rather. It was a crazy at MSG, but a crazy night at Indiana Fieldhouse. And it's funny that you said you were preparing that. I have an article that posted this morning, and I almost never do. I always do my recaps the day after, so I wasn't really planning on that. But I wrote an article that said why it was a good time to be a Knicks fan, in spite of the fact I was thinking we were going down 3-0. And so that article's out this morning. I know you guys don't always check out my stuff, but if ever there's an article you're going to look at, please do. Your name might be in the article, because one of the things that I talk about is this community being so special and getting us through the good times and the bad times, and how we're family. And so we got a good one last night, family. We went from on life support to just in the ICU, and we'll see where we go for Tuesday.
Facts. Boogie, how you feeling this morning?
I'm feeling great. I was feeling great the whole game yesterday. You know, if you anything about Twitter yesterday, I was on Twitter cussing everybody out at halftime. So many people was down on the team, not feeling the team, what was going on, trading this, trading that, blah blah this, blah 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 that. I went off on everybody. I went off and they congratulated me, thanked me and everything for being, who I am and everything. But I'm like, yo, we don't went on the road in Cleveland. You forget that? We won on the road in Philly. We forget that. We won on the road before Indiana. We forget that. We forget what we had to do in Detroit. We forget the 2 games we took from Boston. I'm not laying down until the clock is over and it shows a W and an L. That's just me. I'm riding out with the team from here all the way out until it's over. And I'm still believing that it's going to be over with a championship. I think them guys are still coming back, and them guys over there, they ought to be shaking over there in Indiana. It's a reverse situation of what happened in game 1 again, in New York. But we haven't played our best games. We haven't played our finishing game. Last night was the first time we finished. But I'm so happy that we got that win. And now we can start over again. I wanted to get somehow 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4, some kind of way, but I knew we couldn't win 4 straight. I knew we couldn't win 4 straight. That was going to be too much. But to get that first one last night, shout out to the entire organization, the Knicks, the coaching staff, and the players, but not laying down, not quitting, not giving up. And shout out to any fan that thought that we was going to come back and win that game at halftime when we shrunk it to 13. Shout out to any fan that didn't give up, didn't quit, on the team, man. Because this team, they got that mighty fight in them. And right now, it's like Nas and Ether. They back against the wall. Jay-Z, okay, I'm coming out. It's Ether time. And I'm happy. I'm happy.
Shout out to you, Boogie, because I know there were times during the season where you was a little down on the team, but it's good that in that particular game you hung in there when it looked like this team. It wasn't even, to me, it wasn't even a 20-point lead. It was that they didn't look like themselves. They haven't looked like themselves since they lost game 1. They didn't look like themselves in game 2. They didn't look like themselves in the first half of game in game 3. And I'm like, what are you? And I'm going to get to the super chats. I appreciate you. I'm like, come on, you trying to tell me that loss took that much out of you? And when you talk to some fans, a lot of us focused on the last 3 minutes, which will never happen again in maybe another 20 years. But that first 45 minutes, the Knicks were on point. And I'm
Right.
saying, I understand the disappointment of the last 3 minutes, but what did you do in that 45 minutes to give you that 14-point lead? That's what you take away from that game. And I got to
Mm-hmm.
be honest, Boogie, game two, first half of game three, I really thought that perhaps that game one loss took too much out of them because they didn't the intensity, the urgency. You lose like that, I gotta be honest. I was really expecting in game two that the Knicks would have a 20-point lead in the first quarter and the Pacers would have to work their way back into that game. When it was
Mm-hmm.
nip and tuck, and then Siakam and their team won,
Right.
came out and stepped it up and took it to I was like, I was like, come on, family. Look at this. I'm knocking over my webcam, um, and everything. Anyway, we're gonna get into it. I just want to read these super chats first.
Yes.
Shout out to the art man, formerly known as Steve. Good morning. I'm a numbers guy. Knicks came back from 20 down 2 times in the second round. Went up 2-0 against Boston. We were down 2-0 to the Pacers, down 20 in the second, and we come back and win. Oh, did I show it? Was it I'm sorry, it wasn't on the stage. Yeah. On the screen. Yeah. Shout out to you, the art man, formerly known as Steve. Always rocking with us. And I want to add two more. The Knicks winning Indiana, win 2 in a row, heading back into the Garden for game 5.
Talk that talk. Talk.
Kadeem Wright, I appreciate you. When JB learns to be a better playmaker more consistently, he would no doubt be the best point guard, if not best player in the NBA. Shaking my head. I mean, it was a bad game for him. You know, I always said this about Brunson. Even boy, I'm like really leaning to the side here. What's going on? Oh man, I said this about Brunson. Wow. If it ain't one thing, it's another, family. All right, y'all gonna have to deal with me leaning a little bit. I said this about Brunson heading into the season. It's one thing to be the best player on a up and coming team. Is another thing to be the best player on a championship contending team. High leverage games, you go deeper in the playoffs. Things get a little tight. They start keying on you more. You have to learn, and you can't learn until you're there, right? And this is where the Knicks are. But listen, I would bet my house on Brunson. I bet Brunson, to me, if he has a bad game, or even if this is a bad playoffs for him, I'm not worried about Brunson. I've seen it in Paul George. I've seen it in Tragic Magic. I've seen it in so many players who had to grow up in the playoffs and fine tune their game. I'm not worried about Brunson. If anybody is going to do that, that's going to be Brunson. To me, he's the least of our worries. But I appreciate the super chat for both Kadeem Wright and the art man formerly known as Steve. So we're gonna get into it. Boogie, we just kind of pick one thing that stood out for us, and then the rest of us can piggyback off of what is said. So we're gonna let you go first. Who or what stood out for you last night?
The coaching moves that stood out. Um, the trust in putting these guys in a big time moment where they haven't been playing at all.
Facts.
On your last limb, you put
Facts.
these guys in this game, and they showed you what they are part and what they're built like in a hostile environment. Shout out to Wright. Shout out to Sham. Shout out to Tom making that decision, not once, but then again making that decision to keep him in there. Hold up, Brunson. Sit down. That was really big. And them guys stepped all the way up. You know, they did it as a group. But man, that five, that Shamit, that Wright, Towns, OG,
Hart.
and Hart, whichever, that's 6 of them. But them 6, when them 5 or them 6 was in the game and the other one wasn't in the game, but on his way in the game or whatever, they took that game from Indiana. They pumped life back into our system of orange and blue. So, man, shout out to them guys. It was just so beautiful. I love to see when guys are doubted and they prove you wrong. I love that. That just brings joy and a smile to my heart and my soul, knowing that them guys stay ready. Stay ready. If you call my name, you call my number, I'm going to go out there and give it all I can. And y'all seen that from Shamit the other night when he took that offensive foul from against Pascal. When he took that, when he hit him with that big, I was like, yeah, Sham. I seen it in him. He was like, he want. Shout out. That's what stood out to me. The coaching moves, the coaching decisions in a hostile environment with your back against the wall, and them guys played for you. Because you know they've been like, oh man, if he don't put him in, they're gonna have something to say. If he put him in and it didn't work, they was gonna have something to say. But he put him in and it worked. And now you see what them guys could have been doing a long time ago. So now, Tom, you got a whole complete squad now because them guys is ready. They saved our lives. Thank you.
Yeah. The other thing I will add in terms of the coaching moves, to what you just said, Boogie, was leaving Brunson on the bench. You know, he had 5 fouls, but he could have still brought him in earlier. Even the
Yes,
telecast was wondering, like, when do you bring Brunson back? When do you bring Brunson
right.
back? But he rocked with that team because that team was rocking. And kudos to Brunson. When he came in, he got a quick 5th foul. But when he came in, he didn't try to take over before he got that foul. He was, he understood, that Cat was the one that was rocking. He went back to the bench, and Thibodeau just left him there to like under 2 minutes to go. I thought that was a good
Mhm.
move as well. That team is rocking. Let them rock. Yeah. But Jeff, you want to piggyback off of
Absolutely. So, and
I'm gonna fix my
with
camera, guys. I'm still listening though.
it started with the lineup change, to start the game, and the double big lineup did okay to start the game. We had a decent lead in the first quarter. It didn't last, but it was better than digging a hole for ourselves right out the gate. But then the trust in Deuce McBride. Like, Deuce McBride was the player of the game for me. I hope Wiz is watching. I know it's early in California, but take a bow. Your grandson stepped up last night. He was massive, and coach trusted him and played him the requisite minutes. We had a full 9-man rotation last night. That was, a lot of us have been begging to see that. For the folks in the chat, and y'all know who you are, the DeLon Wright Hive, y'all take a bow, tip your cap this morning, because that man played some ball last night. Landry Shamet had a great game. So yeah, it doesn't always happen, but he hit on all the right buttons last night, and boy, did we need it. Boy, did we need it.
When you said Deuce, it showed what type of player he is, for one thing, but it showed where his mental toughness is more than anything, because he stunk it up in the first half. Three fouls. He could have allowed that to take over him for the rest of the game. But no, he gathered himself, he stayed focused, and waited for his opportunity to come again. And when it came, he was on point. He knew exactly what he had to do. So, man, shout out to Deuce, man. You nailed it with that, because, man, he could have drifted off. He could have not. And shout out to Tom for even trusting him again to bring him back in the game. You know, unlike he did that with okay, Cam, you ain't got it. You ain't coming back. No. But Deuce, you know, he trusted in that guy and he brought him back in the game and kept him out there. Man, we got warriors over here.
Yeah, yeah, and just to piggyback off of Deuce, well, let me get to the art man because he's talking about Deuce too. Appreciate you, the art man formerly known as Steve. Oh, I forgot another two. Deuce led the charge. We need Tibbs to see this game and play these guys game 4. Well, Deuce will definitely play game 4. Cat dominated with 4 defenders around him. We'll definitely get into Cat as well. Appreciate the super chat. The thing about Deuce is not just that he played well. He had to run the team. He had to run the team when Brunson
Yes.
was on the bench in a game in which the Knicks needed. You know, you go down 3-0, it's a wrap. So that was basically an elimination game for the Knicks. And here's Deuce tasked with leading this team. And I thought he was phenomenal. Like the mental, you here to run the team. You're not here to score. If you score and you get a basket, that's fine. But you here to run
Right.
the team. And I thought he ran the team very well. The pick and rolls, going to Cat, going to Cat. One time he took a shot where I'm like, come on, Cat just hit 2 shots. Other than that, I thought he understood the assignment. He ran the offense. His handle is much better in terms of being able to get the ball up the court against pressure without turning it over. And let's not forget the 7-0 personal run that he went on in that game. The Deuce was loose last night. He
Deuce
was
was loose.
phenomenal. And if this is the growth of Deuce, because remember, at least I talked about his hand got to get tighter. His handle has to get a little tighter, and he has to learn how to run a team. You know what I mean? Instead of being an undersized 2 guard, be a point guard that can run the team. And in that game, and even in game 2, I saw some of it as well. Last night, Deuce was that. So kudos for him for stepping up in that moment. Jeff?
Well, if you told me that we were going to win a game where Brunson and Mikal had twin 6 of 18s from the field, and Towns, and we'll get to him in a minute, but he was
For
brilliant in that
sure.
fourth quarter, but was
Leave
8
him
or
for me,
17
please.
overall. I would have told you he was crazy, but
Yeah.
it's Knicks Pacers, and crazy is the soup of the day with when these two teams get together. Like, neither team is out of it. Every game is going to come down to the wire. You better have your heart medication handy, and you just better buckle up because it's wild.
Yeah. 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 I want to get the Cap, but I do want to say that I'm hopeful. To me, I felt like the Knicks may have lost a little confidence after that loss, and maybe I'm reading too much into it. They looked like themselves in that fourth quarter, and I'm hoping they got their mojo back. I'm hoping they got their mojo back because when you saw them play in game 1, they had the paces dead to right. They had the paces dead to right. And it didn't look like it in game 2 in the first half. And I'm like, yo, y'all just as good as the paces, if not better. What's going on here? So I don't know. I'm just hoping that with this win, they get their mojo back and game 4 is in the books. But anyway, I want to talk about Karl-Anthony Towns. And I ain't gonna lie, I was so frustrated with him in the first half, with the fouls and that hook when he goes on his drives. I'm like, come on, man, they've been calling that all season. And like you gotta adjust that. I was just super frustrated, with him defensively as well. And in that fourth quarter, man, just like in game 1, he turned all the way up, all the way up. And he gave it to you any way you wanted it. The drive, the 3, the post, even in the post. He wasn't with that high dribble where he just backed him down, and then turned backed him down to the middle, and then turned around to the baseline for two. You know, just he was so efficient with his movement. You know, he wasn't sloppy. The three pointers, that last one, with like people just draped all over him. I said,
Should have been an and one.
this is what I'm talking about. And listen, Brunson and Towns, and it may take another year or so to figure this out, how to get that balance between the two, when to run through Brunson, when to run it through Cat. You can run it through Cat, and Brunson can play off ball, because on the double teams he could just be spotted up for the three. You know what I mean? Like but because listen, I gotta be honest. When I thought the Knicks were losing this game, I said we're gonna have to reevaluate this Cat Brunson pairing. I'm like, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure about it, and maybe they still will. But last night, again, Brunson was on the bench though. Cat did his thing. He had 4 points in the first half, 20 points in the fourth quarter alone.
And
Listen,
8
they can
rebounds
go
in the
to
fourth
you.
quarter
That don't mean
too.
you're going to deliver. They went to him and he delivered 15 rebounds, big shots. They had absolutely nothing for Cat. And you can argue that we have to do a better job going to him and going um, through him. So yeah, that's what I got to say about Cat. You guys want to piggyback off of that?
I
Yeah,
was
I've got a new. Go ahead, Boog.
no, go ahead, Captain. Go ahead, rock on.
I got a new nickname for Cat. I'm gonna call him Seven Up. He's the Uncola. He goes from unplayable to unstoppable in the blink of an eye, right? He was unplayable in the first half and unstoppable in the fourth quarter. 20 points, 8 rebounds, the maestro, the virtuoso, everything you want to say about this guy. He was 7 up last night. And I'm just telling you, that was what we needed. And, it really shows that maybe the key to winning this series is counterintuitive in that you may have to not play Brunson and Towns at the same time. It seems like you surround Towns with 4 really good defenders. He can be the offensive hub that you need. They don't have anybody who can stop him. And then you can mitigate his weaknesses on the pick and roll because everybody else is a strong defender, and it makes it more difficult to target him in space. And those, credit to DeLon Wright and to Deuce. The rotations in that fourth quarter were spot on, the best I've ever seen this team do. On that last possession when Hart grabbed that rebound, I mean, they were flying around that court with an energy I don't think I've seen all year. And I mean, boom, the Pacers passed the ball. The Knicks were there. They were anticipating properly. They were on a string. The communication was perfect. And Towns was on the floor. Like, come on. Like, this is, we've had that whole fourth quarter was an absolute clinic. In games 1 and games 2, the Pacers did 50-40 again. They didn't get to 50-40 last night, but it wasn't just that. They couldn't even get to their three-point shots. You look at their shot volume, they only had 25 threes taken, and they only made 5 of them. That's not just, we had a bad shooting night. That's the Knicks made you have a bad shooting night, because we saw in that Boston series, not all three-point attempts are the same. A lot of the threes that Indiana was getting game 1 and game 2 are those rotation threes. They're wide open. Ain't nobody in the same area code as them. Everything was contested in that fourth quarter last night. Absolutely everything. And that's why they won the game.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Jeff, about you really have to stagger their minutes. You could play them sometime together, because I don't think you could just play half the game with Brunson and half the game with Cat. So you're gonna have they're gonna have to play together some. But as much as you can have Cat on the floor with 4 defenders, Brunson on the floor with 4 defenders, now they can only pick on one player. You got one defensive weak link and not 2. Boogie, your thoughts on Towns?
I was impressed by him finally sliding his feet and not making dummy reach ins. He played some good defense going down that stretch too. Being able to keep them guys in front of him, not reaching, not making no dumb fouls. With 5 fouls on him, he played on both sides of the court, man. He gave us some things, that we all wanted him to have, wanted him to, to give us before. But I was really impressed on some of the defense that he was playing. That was more important to me because I know he can score from anywhere on the court, anywhere. Whether it's the post, on the side of the rims, the mid range, the free throw, the drive, the trade, he can score anywhere on all types of levels. But when he participates and decides, to stay smart and use the capability of defense that he does have, that helps the team a whole lot more than anything, man. So, man, but shout out to Towns, man. And I think we found a great rotation. If you're going to go along and put him and Mitch as the Twin Towers to start off the game, and you bring Towns out of that game early, you know what I'm saying? And then you bring them back with some of them bench guys, you know what I'm saying? Like that there. That way guys can get, good rest and see what's really going on and watch what Indiana's doing as teammates on the bench instead of being on the floor. You'll know how to, attack them even more. So I just feel like they got the game that's going to really just like get them over the hump and put us right where we need to be. We're not down yet. We're not dead yet. We're not out of the water. None of that. We got a long series to go. And I just want this the old school. I need old school basketball. Y'all know back in the day, it used to be the best 2 out of 3, then 3 out of 5, and 4 out of 7. Right now, I'm on 2 out of 3 right now. Give me a 2 out of 3 series right now. Forget game 7. Give me a 2 out of 3 series right here. Forget last night. Let's go ahead and do what we got to do. Don't change no clothes. Whoever's doing the laundry, wash everything that them guys wore. The headbands, the sleeves, everything. Make them put everything back on because I'm on my juju too. You know what I'm saying? I started in my office watching the game, and then I was like, okay, we here. And then they took Towns out, and then, okay, let me go downstairs. My wife wanted me to watch downstairs. I go down, I'm eating a sandwich, I'm eating, and everything switched. I'm like, nah, go back the way you went. My wife told me, no, you stay downstairs. My baby banging on. No, the door locked. Nobody coming. I don't want to see nobody. Let me in. Let me be in here by myself. But shout out to the team, man. Shout out to the effort. Shout out to the no quit. Shout out to the no give it up. Shout out to being the true road gang that you are. We only got one loss in the playoffs on the road. Let that sting out. So why would I think that it's over with? You know what I'm saying? With 13 points down at half, I'm not going to think it's over with. I just know these guys can know how to fight, man. And they pushed all buttons, man. They pushed all the right buttons, and all the right buttons became all the right answers. And Brunson, I hope you really, really appreciate it and love them guys after that game last night. Wright, Shammy, Hart, that
Deuce.
man, that OG is not a rebounder. We all know that. But for Josh to be like, yo, I'm going to come off the bench. He put that out. Josh, let's say that about Josh. I'm going to come off the bench and do something different and not let it phase him and come up with not one, but 2 big time go get it rebounds. He was, man, when he fell down the leg, I'm like, yeah, break your leg for that rebound. That's what you got to do. I don't want that to happen, but y'all know what I'm saying. By any means, he was going to get that rock. By any means. And this is that all out what we need, and we've been missing, man. And hey, I see y'all Tuesday night. Shout out to the Liberty. Shout out to the Liberty putting that New York smell in there Saturday. Yeah, call out. You think I ain't see you sitting there watching the game? Think you gonna watch Indiana do what they do? No, the Liberty was in the building spreading that New York love in there Saturday. Shout out to them too.
Facts. That was a close game too. They was up, then they was down, then they came back and snatched it at the end with the defensive clamps on Caitlin Clark.
Right.
So it's the same thing. But to your point about Josh Hart, we could transition to him. The offensive rebound. Didn't he get like a huge offensive rebound out to Towns for the 3-point shot, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes, he
He
did.
was
Yes, he did.
huge. I was like, yes, this is my dude. Like, this is who I remember. He was phenomenal. I mean, he came off the bench. He still played 34 minutes. So, to the people's point, the fans' point that, you know, bring him off the bench. He's still going to get his minutes anyway, and that's what happened last night. He was phenomenal in the fourth quarter. His defense was better. His switching was better. His lateral movement was better. He was locked in, as opposed to game 2 with the backdoor cuts for a layup. You know what I mean? Like, he was just a totally different player last night. Let me just get to some of the comments.
What up
Andrew
to the
K, I
chat?
felt Stafford Don's presence watching that fourth quarter. Andrew K, Stafford is buried in Fort Lauderdale. When the Knicks win this chip, that's where I'm heading, right to his gravesite to talk to him about this
He
about
might
this journey.
rise and come back. We win that shit.
Right,
He may come out of that coffin and make a guest
right,
appearance like Jesus himself. You never
right.
know.
You know, they didn't know it was two screw faces.
Facts.
God bless, man. Stafford Don, man. Love and miss you, King.
Yeah. Mitch is starting to, man. He's smiling. Walter White, it frustrated me that Bridges didn't attack with Halliburton guarding him. He had it going early. Not just that, Walter White. I feel like he's playing off of Halliburton too much. Like, play him closer. Like, it's just too much space between him and Halliburton. Yeah, Bridges have to, Bridges has to step up. Um Ajay, shout out to Tibbs for finally understanding that campaign is not for this series. Yeah, yeah. He definitely hasn't played well up to this point. I thought he was okay in game 2, though. Top notch T, appreciate you rocking with us. They figured out the pick and pop defense in the third quarter, and Indiana looked shocked the rest of the game. Plus, Cat stepped up. Facts. A few more. This is what Jeff was talking about. HRM, appreciate you rocking with us. The strategic stagger by Tibbs was on point this game. Last game he OD'd with Mitch. I mean, Mitch still played close to 30. It didn't look like it, but he still played close to 30 to 30 minutes today. Again, another stagger comment. Jamrock, appreciate you. I think you might have to stagger Cat and Brunson minutes. Both of them have to play with 4 good defenders around them. Yeah, I mean, there might be some. See, the regular season is different than the playoffs. Certain things you could get away with in the regular season that is hard to get away with in the playoffs when you're seeing
Right.
the team game after game after game, and they able to put together a specific game plan to take away of your weak to take away to pinpoint and target your weaknesses, whether that's a particular player, whether that's a particular duo, whether that's just something you do or don't that you don't do well. That's what the playoffs is all about. That's what makes it so strategic. And that's why a lot of times you really can't go by the regular season. You really can't go by that. Andrew K, appreciate you again. Knicks had 7 different lineups that never saw the floor together last night. And now, see, whether we win or lose the game, it changes the narrative, right? You win the game. You know what? He should have did it before, but he did it this time, and it worked out for us. You lose the game, desperate. You changing the lineup. You picking for straws. You giving Indiana, which is what Reggie Miller said in the front. You giving Indiana the psychological edge by, changing your starting lineup. You come across as being afraid, and I mean, there might be something to it. But there's also the basketball part of it in terms of the Knicks needing to get out to better starts. And whether you went with Mitch, I was surprised he went with Mitch. I thought he would go with Deuce because I didn't like the way that double lineup looked in the second game. But they must have tweaked some things between game 2 and game 3, and they looked much better last night.
I think they realized they was going to really press that perimeter more, and if we press that perimeter more, and the guys overpress and they beat the guy, you got somebody that's going to protect the rim. So, and I was more scared about because game 1 when we had the towers out there, you know, Mitch is not used to. Mitch is not used to a man coming to set a screen on him. He's used to his man screening, and he's picking up the player. And it was in reverse because him and Towns is out there. Now they screening him because they trying to get to Towns. So I was leery of that because I saw it, in game 2 when they was trying to rock with it, because he really wasn't in that position before. But it figured out, it worked out, and now, like you just said, sis, when you playing somebody over and over, you get to figure out and see and pick and understand what they're doing. I think it's to our advantage to figure out more what they're doing than them to figure out what we're doing. Because really, we still can score. Because we got guys that can do multiple really things with the rock more than what they got. A lot of they guys got to get their offense out of the offensive set. And if that set gets shut down,
Correct.
they don't really have them type guys that's going to like break it open and like, yo, give me the rock one-on-one. Sock 'em, you had your one game. I don't look at you do that no more this series, honestly.
Boogie, do you think though that the Knicks are not being aggressive enough? And because you're right, when you look at the matchup, like each matchup, you can argue that the Knicks have the edge in every, in every matchup. Are you surprised that the Knicks aren't taking more advantage of it? Because you're right, they are a set heavy team. Once you put that defensive team in there and you start cutting off they don't have a lot of guys that can create their shots.
Mhm.
Do you think the Knicks should be more aggressive on the offensive end in terms of mixing it up? OG, they did get OG some out of the timeout, some sets where he's at the top of the key and he's able to go downhill. But I thought Bridges could have posted up Halliburton more. I thought that Brunson wasn't as aggressive against Neesmith as he was at least last year in the playoffs. Just your thoughts on the Knicks taking more advantage of their matchups.
I believe they should get more aggressive all the way around the board, not just offense. I think they're too cool and too friendly with these guys. Yo, it's got to get ugly sooner or later. I'm watching what Siakam doing, what he doing, and in game 2. Yo, sooner or later, you got to get out of your mode and like, yo, that's my ex-teammate, and be like, yo, you're not getting ready to continue on doing. You can't just go to the bench and argue and point your fingers at Towns, and this man is out here cooking you. So, we need to get completely more aggressive. I'm not cool with you. I'm not here to be your friend. I'm not your buddy. This right here means everything to us. And we got a whole fan base behind us that wants us to make sure we're doing what we got to do. But they got to get more aggressive all the way around the board, more aggressive on the defensive end. If you're going to foul them, give them a real foul. Let them feel that foul some more, But be more aggressive, like, yo, you can't check me, you can't stop me. That go for Bridges, that go for OG. You already see Towns, he can do it. We already know what Brunson can do. Get more aggressive and put more pressure on these guys back to their own rim and let them know we're coming for you, point blank, on the offensive end, especially on the defensive end. But we're not going to be soft no more the rest of this series. It's a fight now, and I look for us to take the fight. They got them guys that act like it, but they don't really want it. And I think I'm happy about yesterday. we get ready to take over this series, and I really believe that. They don't found their, you know what I'm saying, they itch, they rhythm, they comfort zone, and everybody's like, okay, we really got it. And we should be up 2-1, if not 3-zip in this series right now. So they need to be knowing that we lost, we blown this series. They really ain't done it. They took advantage of what they supposed to have done because we goofed it off. But now, no, it's time for business. Clean this series up. Clean it up.
Yeah, yeah. And as far as the emotional edge, I think both teams going in, because the Knicks do not want to go down 3-1, and the Pacers don't want this series tied up going back to the Garden. So in terms of
Right?
the emotional edge, both teams are going to be emotionally ready. And that was my only concern about the Knicks, them being emotionally ready, ready for this. And so I really believe that I'm not going to say they lack confidence, but whatever it was I was seeing, I feel like that got corrected in game 3 with this
And
with
put
this
that
win.
whistle up. Keep that whistle just like y'all had. Let them fight. Let them slug it out. Because you're not calling none. It's a slugfest. And I got really upset on that ticky-tack foul late they called on Bridges. Hold up. What you
Exactly.
doing? You were not calling nothing, and you called that one? You know what I'm saying? That touch foul? Either way, they won't call it no fouls. I'm cool with that. Let us slug it out. Let us fight it out. Let us duke it out. I believe we got the more aggressive and more stronger team, you know what I'm saying? But if you putting that whistle up and you're not allowing, Brunson's used to not getting no calls. Let me
Right.
find out Towns is okay like the fourth quarter. You don't want to give me no calls? Okay, I'm taking over anyway. Let me find out these guys right here. OG is all aggressive. He going to that. He feeling good. Let me find out y'all not going to call nothing and we come into play. And them guys don't want to play.
Yeah. I want to talk about OG when we finish with the comments. Shout out to Tori B rocking with us. Appreciate you, sis.
Hit the
Agreed.
like
Town
buttons,
should be the
please.
focal. Yeah. Agreed. Town should be the focal point. Nobody can stop him, but he's always in foul trouble. Get it together, Cat. Just be smart. Like whenever he's driving and he's hooking the other person's on, like how many times has he been called for that? Just be smart. That's all I'm asking from Cat. We got 2 more super chats and I want to get into OG. Shout out again to the art man formerly known as Steve. Appreciate you always rocking with us, always supporting the channel. Lastly, the refs tried to give this game to Indiana. The Towns travel, Brunson's 5th foul on the charge reversed call, which did bring Deuce back, right? Which did bring that, that lineup back. Kadeem Wright, appreciate you for rocking with us. Appreciate the super chat. Knicks are 12-1 when the burner gets less than 10 assists or greater than 10 assists. He says less than 10 assists. Oh, wait, hold on. It's not on the stage. Kadeem Wright, appreciate you. Knicks are 12-1 when the burner gets less than 10 assists. Like for me, I'm not really judging Brunson on the assists. I'm judging him on his process. And you could see. Sorry, what is going on here? You could see in a game what the process is. Sometimes you make the right pass and the player doesn't complete it, but your process was good. That was a good decision. Sometimes, you know, it works out, and the shot is made, but you like, whew, we ducked one because that was not a good decision. So you can't always judge how he plays on the assist. You have to watch him and just watch his process, watch his floor game, watch his decision making. I think that's a better indicator of how he's playing than the assist. Because with the assist, somebody has to hit the shot too, right?
And nobody was
Brunson
doing
is
that in the first half, especially. We were horrendous from the field, especially in the second quarter. We couldn't buy a bucket.
yeah, yeah. Listen, I'm not gonna when we have a great game, pump Brunson up, and when he doesn't have a good game, be super down on him. And the same thing for Cat. What I try to do is just stay in the moment and just call it as I see it. If Brunson has a good game, acknowledge it. If it wasn't so great, acknowledge it. Same thing for Cat. But I'm not gonna, for me personally, gonna be like, oh, he ain't it, he ain't the one. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that right now. I will acknowledge that he is in his process, as all great players or number one players on their team are. And you level up over time. The more you're in the playoffs, you just keep leveling up and leveling up. And Brunson is in his process. He'll be fine. If I had to bet on anybody, I would bet on Brunson. Um, let's talk about OG. OG is, to me, has become very timely. Like when you look at him over the course, you be like, yo, what is he doing? Like on the offensive end. Like I need him to step up. And even defensively, right? With the Siakam, like I need him to step up. But I can't tell you how many times he hits a timely shot for us. You know, he hit 2 timely threes. That defense on Neesmith at a time when we trying to get back in the game, I mean, he was frenetic on that play. And then got the block to boot. He was just phenomenal. And maybe I'm asking too much, but that type of energy, you know, from the entire team is what I'm looking for. Listen, you can't be frenetic for 48 minutes, but everybody just need to raise their level of energy just a little bit more. Talk to me about what you saw from OG and Anunoby um last night. Shout out to Anthony D rocking with us. Appreciate you, bro. Um what have you guys heard saw from OG?
Well, he played 37 minutes last night, which I think is helpful. I think that being able to steal a couple of minutes rest for him off the bench uh, made him a better player in the fourth quarter in crunch time. And it was funny because he's kind of a stoic on the court a lot of times, but you even saw a little bit of emotion out of the big man last night. He was locked in, he was invested. That block was nasty. Like that block shot
Yeah.
was absolutely nasty. Excuse me. And anytime we're getting 4+ stocks from him, it just changes everything. And it's the off-ball stuff that OG does that doesn't appear on the radar, but is so critical to us defensively. Like when he's like I say it a lot, he guards like 1.5 people, and he can kind of sneak in and make that pass a little bit more dangerous, or he can make that offensive player do something else with it that they really don't want to do, and then recover to his man. uh you know he was phenomenal last night. He really did a great job, and we need him to make shots like that, and he did. So kudos to him, and we're paying him to be a star type player, and last night he was.
Yeah. Yeah, he was. Shout out to Poop Barlow. He said the fact that the Knicks have to rely on OG to be their third scorer is unfair to him. And the reason why y'all get the inconsistency, it really should be Bridges that should carry some of the offensive load. It definitely should carry some of the offensive load, but OG is not the OG from last year and the year before. This is a different OG. OG can carry some of the offensive load as well. And I know this is his other comment that OG keeps bailing Tibbs and the Knicks out. OG is part of the team. He not bailing anybody out. You part of the team. You know what I mean? Anybody could step up on any given night. Campaign stepped up for us in the first half. So to me, it's not about bailing. It's about there are times when somebody else needs to step up. If that's Cam, if that's DeLon Wright, if that's Shaman, if that's OG, whoever it is, if that's Mitch, you part of the team. You're not bailing the team and the coach out. You're stepping up because you part of the group. So shout out to OG for doing what he does, and we need more of that. You know what I mean? We need more of it. Um Yeah. Anything else on OG before we move on to Bridges?
I thought when he attacked and when he attacked the bench and he was having this little flare up in game two, you don't do that and then come out the next game and show nothing. That let me know that he does has a pulse. You know what I'm saying? So when he did that, that lets me know that he can turn into a different mind frame. So I always looked at OG. You know what I'm saying? Provide your defense and be that catch and shoot guy. Something to Shane Battier. But when he decides that he want to play defense, and then I'm gonna give you some of this Marcus Johnson type game, um, that's the OG that you want to see all the way around because he's more than capable, of making a difference in our offense. And last night, he was just everywhere and where he needed to be at the right time, the right moment, and the block was like, "Yo, mother effers, you crazy? Or what is you?" He let him. That was aggressive blocks. Like, don't try me again.
Facts.
And I just love that demeanor, how he played, what he did, what he brought to the game, man. Shout out to OG for everything that he did yesterday and the team and everything. I'm just really, really, really impressed by his game, and it needs to continue on. Don't just stop there. We got more work to do. I don't want to fall in love with what you did last night. I need to fall more in love with what you can do with the games to come.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Facts. I think it comes down, Boogie, to the aggressiveness you talked about. Just everybody being aggressive on both the offensive and the defensive end. And I will say that lineups do make a difference in terms of defensive aggressiveness, right? You can, because you're on a string, you can have one or two players being aggressive and then another player being ole. You know what I mean? Having those four defensive players in there around Cat to me made all the difference. Made Cat look a little better on the defensive end. Shout out to the man cave. It's been a minute, brother. Let us know when you want to hop on with us. OG is getting 40 million a season. He's doing what he's getting paid to do. He is not boiling the Knicks out. He's not getting paid peanuts. I mean, he's not getting paid peanuts, but I get what Poop Barlow was saying, that that's not really his role, that it should be Bridges' role. But to be honest, I think that third score is still up in the air for the Knicks. I mean, you could say that Bridges is more, what's the word? His skill set is best fitted for the role. But in terms of actual production it's been either one of them throughout the season. Would you agree, Jeff, that the third score really hasn't been solidified?
Yeah, Bridges has more tools in his bag uh, to be that guy than OG does, but uh, look, OG's a really capable shooter from the corners, and when he's aggressive on his drives, he's very strong, and he can finish with a dunk a lot of times. I think at one point in the season he was the NBA leader in dunks, so we know that he has that capability. And he himself said he wants more of an offensive role. So let those two be 3A and 3B. I'm okay with that. Like,
Great point.
the more that we get from both of those guys, the better off we're going to be. So yeah, I think that's a great point, Queen. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, shout out to Tory B. OG wasn't tired down the stretch. I'm gonna keep saying it. Playing defense with his feet instead of his hands makes all the difference, for sure. Let's talk about Bridges. So in the first half, I was so upset with all of the Knicks because I just felt like nobody was stepping up. When I looked at Siakam in that second half, excuse me, second game, I was like, wow, he just stepped up for his team. Just came out, with a lot of energy and that mentality that I'm about to take it to these cats. And I just didn't think. And listen, you can argue that it was the Indiana's defense that made it difficult for the Knicks to do that. That's fair. That's fair. I still felt like one person on the Knicks need to need to step up. And I just feel like so many games, they're not going through the motions. So I don't want to minimize that. But it seems like they just going through the motions, playing the game on offense, playing the game on defense, just taking what they're being given instead of asserting their will. And I feel like Bridges, that's him. There are times, well, it's not only him, but we're talking about Bridges now. There's times when he will assert himself and just be like, you know what, we're not going down. You saw it in the Boston series. I forgot what game it was, what quarter it was, where he had most of his points. Was I think it was in the fourth quarter. He just said, "We not going down," and asserted himself, and he has the skill set to do that. In this game last night, I think he got 6 points for the game, and he was not assertive at all on the offensive end. He wasn't as assertive enough, in my opinion, on the defensive. And just talk to me about Bridges and what you're seeing from him in this series and what you would like to see from him going forward.
Well, I think it's true of Mikal that he would rather shoot a fadeaway jumper than just dunk the ball. You know what I mean? And it's weird because he's such a good player, but he's not a very physical player.
Does he have to be though? To
I don't know that he does, but sometimes I think he does. Like sometimes I think he needs to go in there and just take some contact and get to the free throw line. Does this kid ever shoot a free throw? Like very rarely. Like his free throw rate can't be that high. So and maybe that's by design because he's not a great finisher. I don't know, but moving forward, I just want to see aggressiveness from him. Either way, he only made 6 shots. He had 15 points on 16 shots. Not an efficient night from him, but he was +2. So
he had 15 points last night. Okay, so maybe I was just looking at one quarter.
Yeah, he had 15 points last night.
He did. Okay.
Who that we talking about?
Okay.
Mikal.
We're talking about Bridges.
Okay.
So again, he's. I don't know if mercurial is the right word, but sometimes he's up and down with his performance. But I think you live with it because defensively, especially again when you're talking about Brunson or Cat with 4 other defenders on the floor, he fits that bill really, really well most of the time. And I kind of understand leaving Halliburton open a little bit more and giving him some space because Halliburton's going to beat you off the drive and kill you off the drive a lot more than he is. He may have a game or two where he kills you from 3, but I don't think he even shot the ball that great from distance yesterday, did he?
Is he that fast though? Jeff, that you think he can get around Bridges? Is Halliburton that fast that he can get? Like, I get it if you're dealing with a real speedy guard, you want to give them space, you press up, they can easily get around you. Do you think Halliburton has that type of speed against Bridges?
It kind of looks like it at times. Like Halliburton, maybe I'm wrong, but they put you through screens and in the blender and all that stuff, and it makes it very difficult. And so I can see. Like Halliburton was 2 of 8 from 3 last night. So leaving him open, maybe it's just we lucked out. But, I know he went like 4 of 12 in another game this series. So, that's not the strength in Halliburton's game is all I'm saying. He's not, they have a ton of great 3-point shooters. He's not really one of them. That's not to say he won't have a game where he hits a bunch of them. And if he does, we're probably in trouble. But you have to choose something, right? You can't shut down everything. So I think if you're if their offense is a lot of Halliburton threes, I think maybe the Knicks live with that.
Yeah, I hear you. I do want to say something about Bridges' physicality. I just want to push back a little bit on that. I feel like Bridges should be Bridges. If you're not somebody that goes in there and banging in the paint, like that's just not who you are. I just want Bridges to be better at to be more consistent, I should say, at what he does do. Catch and shoot threes. Can you be a little better can you be a little better with that? When you get in the keys for your mid range in a game like this, you can't miss a shot. I'm being unfair, but you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, I need you to be on point. This is an elimination game. When you get to your spot, I need you to be sharp and knock down at least half of them. That's what I'm looking for from Bridges. I'm not looking for him to be something um, that he's not. When he posts up, that's his game, to post up, the turnaround, the fade away, to create the space for his shot. That's him. He not going to turn like he going to take the fade away and then duck back under and lay it. Like, that's just not his game. So I'm not really looking for him to be anything more than he is. I'm just looking for him to be more consistent at what he does do. Because if he's more consistent at what he does do, that's more than enough for this Knicks team. And part of it, though, is being assertive. And to me, I just feel like he's not always assertive. He's just picking, picking his spot. And I get it. He's playing on a team with Cat and Brunson. He's not going to average 20 points. He's not getting 20 shots a game, not with them two dudes, you know. But there's still ample opportunity for
He
Bridges
got 16
in the
up last
shots that
night. He
he
only
is
made
taking.
6 of them.
Be more
So
consistent. Sorry, Jeff Cat.
he got 16 shots last night. So, he's getting opportunities. He's got
What
1
did
of
he
6
shoot,
from
Jeff?
3 is not great. That's tough. But the more concerning number is the 5 of 12 from 2. We need that to be 7 or 8 of 12, because that's his mid range. That's his bread and butter. As you said, do the things that you do well. And,
Right.
that's what makes him such a tough player. When that midi is on, he's unguardable. I mean, because he can get to that shot anytime he wants, and you can't block
Facts.
it.
I
Facts.
don't think I don't I don't think Halliburton can just bust Bridges' ass without their system. I just don't. As far as like just beating your man several times, now he's not a clear out taker. He got to have that system. When you talk about is Halliburton that fast enough where he gets around Bridges and all that. I don't think he can really just like do what he want to do, what I'm saying, at any moment without the system of their offense. You know what I'm saying? The pass, the movement, the screening and all that involved. He needs that. Um, you seen him, he tried to clear it. I was shocked when he hit that stop and pop last night. When he came around the right shoulder of the free throw and he stopped and popped. I never seen him stop and pop. A mid-range, but he shocked me with that. But then he tried it again. It was a brick. So, but I think he gets his shots that he's supposed to have. He should have somewhere between 10 to 15 shots. He should get that because he's another guy that can get his shot off the dribble, and he can get his shot within the system. And if we did a little bit more of it, he can get his shots in the open court. But we just, our fast break and open court game is not there, and then that's another thing, they beat us in so many phases of the game last night, and it just went on our side for us to win last night. They had more fast break points probably than us. They definitely won all the what you call it, they won all the challenges. They had so many things going in their way, but we thugged that game out last night. But I'm cool with Bridges where he at. And yeah, it's midi, that's his bread and butter. And you feel like he should knock down more of the shots that he missed at. He has untimely misses that we feel like he should make those shots because you've been in these moments. You've been to the finals. You understand this magnitude of level of basketball right now. You've been here before more than any of us, I think, except for with OG, he was on the bench, in the Toronto. And PJ, and you've been here more than anybody else. Further far as further along in the playoffs than anybody else. But Bridges is gonna be good. He's gonna be all right. He's going to be all right. I just need the team to continue on fighting and believing, scrapping, and get it down to that crucial moments. When they get down to that crucial moments, you know, unlucky bounce, unlucky bounce that went against us. That the basketball guys gave Halliburton a freebie there. Outside of us blowing all them free throws, man. We get down to the crunch moments, what I'm saying? I think we're gonna start winning the clutch type games more going further along in this series than when we lost the game in game 2 and we blew the game in game 1. That game wasn't even supposed to have been close at all. But game 2, they did execute a little bit better than us. Last night, we executed better than them. It's going to be who's going to want it more. And right now, it's a lot of momentum going on our side right now because they really wanted the 3-0s. And we pulled a plug up there. We don't care nothing about your Indianapolis race you had going on. None of that. We in here focused. From the moment we get inside this building, we want to open and close this game out. And I'm happy for the squad, though. I'm happy. A shout out to you waking up bright and early, you know what I'm saying? Giving us some orange and blue skies throughout this YouTube, man. Everybody's supposed to be buzzing. Your show's supposed to be going off. No matter who's going, everybody should be rocking. Because, if we lost last night, you might not want to even do your show no more.
Yeah, we would have been here, though, but you're right. I'm not sure how much company we would have had. Let's talk about Mitch a little bit. I want to shout out David Smith. He said Towns is the man. He definitely was the man last night in the fourth quarter. I hear all your comments in the chat. Listen, I try to keep it in the moment. Game 3, Towns was unplayable in the second half. Game 2, I should say. He was unplayable. He was -20, David Smith. So I invite you when you roll up in here to not just roll up in here when Cat has a good game, but to roll up in here every game. And to not just roll up in here to shit on Brunson, but to roll up in here to also give Brunson credit when he plays well. Because you might just be a Cat fan, but us up in here, we Knicks fans. And we're going to call it as we see it, whether it's Brunson, whether it's Cat. And obviously you can fan the way you fan, but I invite you to do the same. All right. Let's get into Mitchell Robinson last night. Tibbs decided to change the starting lineup. I thought it did get us off to a good start. I didn't think, what I thought would be an issue in the Knicks in transition. We gave up 16 fast break points and we only had 2. I don't think that's Cat. I don't think that was Cat and Mitch, though. When we turn the ball over, we just a hot mess in terms of our transition defense. They've beat us points off of turnovers in every single game. Talk to me, Jeff, about your thoughts on the starting lineup, changing the starting lineup. Were you surprised that it was Mitch instead of Deuce? And what did you see throughout the game?
Well, I was calling for Deuce and not Mitch, which is crazy because I love Mitch. But I just think McBride adds an element to this series and an element of defense at the point of attack and just a feistiness. He gets around screens extraordinarily well, better than anybody on the roster. And DeLon Wright did that well last night too, and so did Landry Shamet for that matter. But getting around the screens and doing all those things is instrumental. But Mitch is super helpful. That wasn't a huge Mitch game. I think he had 29 minutes. He had 6 points. He had 6 rebounds. He had a block. It wasn't a bad game. He didn't hurt us. But there were games in this playoffs where it was like Mitchell Robinson's impact was just like in your face. He was so good. I didn't feel like last night was necessarily that, but he did enough, right?
Right.
He was key in spots, and again, we didn't get off to a horrific start. So from that standpoint, I think that the lineup change worked. And Hart looked fresher at the end of the game. So I think from that standpoint, it was a success. You know, Indianapolis poses some real challenges. You know, Miles Turner is a tough cover because he can play on the outside, and you've seen in space he can kind of get by Robinson one-on-one. I saw him at least, I think it was twice last night, but maybe it was just once where he just blew right by Robinson and straight to the cup. I think he got fouled on one, he got a dunk on the other. And so, you know, that can be problematic, but, you know, look, the defense was on point last night. We surrendered 100 points to one of the best offensive teams in the NBA. We only gave up 25 3-point attempts, like I said before, and Robinson was a big part of that. You know, defense is team defense. It's every player has to step up, and last night that's what you saw, especially in that fourth quarter. That, you know, I live in the South and we like our biscuits smothered and covered, right? You know, and that's what it was last night. The Pacers were smothered and covered in that fourth quarter, and they couldn't get anything going. They every time they made the extra pass, the rotation was there. I don't know how many times that they had to take a shot deep in the shot clock. They want to be done. They want to have that shot off within 7 seconds. They're very Mike D'Antoni in the way and the Knicks forced them to milk possessions and made it slow down the pace of the game. And I think that's more where Robinson's impact on last night's game was, more than points or rebounds or blocks or anything like that.
Right. Yeah. Great point, Jeff. Great point. Boogie, any thoughts on just going with the double big lineup and Mitch performance? Then we'll talk about the bench a little bit, and then we out of here.
This what, you know, well, I know I'm one of them. This is what I really wanted to see early on. If I could have got him back healthy and up, ready to go. And his size present, his defense, him being relentless on the board, and more importantly, that's our best voice on the floor. And you hear him mic'd up. He is our best voice. He's talking. He's letting them guys know where what's coming, what's behind you. He's reminding them guys, you know, that don't quit, don't give up. Let's go, keep going, keep playing. He's talking out there, you know, and I don't think it's just because he's mic'd up, he's saying these things. I think it's just him. That's a part of his game that he also brings to the table that we've been lacking, as far as, you know, communication, conversation, and people talking on defense. It's hard. It's harder for Bridges and OG, which those are our wing stops, to really, really talk on defense, because they're so much up on towards playing up on the wings. So you would expect the conversation would come from behind everybody, and that's what he's providing. You know, he sees everything, and I was happy when they made the change, but more importantly, when Josh was telling them to make the change, that even makes Mitch feel more better as a player and wants to, you know, play even more harder, because my teammate is saying I need to be inserted into the starting lineup and take his spot and take his role and his spot, because what I can bring to the table can be a lot more meaning towards the team than what we're doing and when I come off the bench. But I'm happy with Mitch, you know, being in that starting lineup. I'm happy with Tom making that choice and that decision. Something needed to be done, and he pulled the right button by putting Mitch out there, and he's been earning and deserving that. Far as, you know, you see how the game has been changing when he comes into the game off the bench. So why not let me see if I have that going into the beginning of the game, and it allows us to make sure we win the tip and see what we got. And we got off to a good start, a better start yesterday than what we have been getting off to. You know, I thought he should have stayed with that lineup a little bit longer, even though Towns missed a couple of shots, but he wasn't in foul trouble. You know what I'm saying? He hurried up and went back to the Josh Hart thing. You know what I'm saying? I kind of wondered, like, did you really want to make that transaction, that change? Because you went so quick interchanging it, you know, you didn't give it enough time to see what can be done with it. You know what I'm saying? But I understand in a magnitude game like that, and we down 0-2, you know, it's no telling what was going on up in his head. He had a million and one things going across him, you know what I'm saying? That hair comb to the side. It almost combed to the other side, you know. We'd have lost that game. But I'm happy with Mitch. I'm happy with the lineup, and it works out with Josh because he's still going to get his minutes. And it's not about who's really starting amongst this team, but who finished. And we had a strong second half to this team, a strong second half, you know, and that's what you want. And everybody answered the bells. But yeah, shout out for Mitch being put into that starting lineup, and shout out for Josh being cool with it and still coming into the game like I'm still a starter and I'm playing hard regardless. But yeah, man, I like Mitch being in that starting lineup, and Lord knows the suitors are coming. The suitors are coming.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
suitors are coming for Mitch.
I think that's the first part of it, the starting lineup. But I also think the most important part of it is the lineups throughout the game as well. And what can you do to mix
That's
it up,
big.
keep those starters, those starters separated. Maybe like Jeff talked about earlier, staggering Brunson and Cat as much as you can. I mean, I think Mitch starting is big for getting off to good starts. But even if you don't do that, even if he kept it the same, the most important thing is how do you how do you mix it up, and how do you quickly go from that starting lineup, and how do you, like we said, separate those two, stagger those lineups, mix it up a little bit. That's the most important thing, because he could have started Mitch, and the next thing you know, we seeing the same starting lineup for most of the game, and that was not the case. And I think that was big. And then the last thing, we talked about it a little bit before we get out of here, is just about DeLon and Shamit. I mean, listening to Tibbs, it sounds like he was going to use them anyway. But then when Deuce got into the foul trouble, he had to just bring DeLon right in. Earlier probably than expected. Do you think this is what it's going to be in the series going forward? Different series calls for different things, right? So if we get to the NBA Finals, it could be something totally different. But for the rest of this series, do you think DeLon Wright, Shamit stays in the rotation and he continues to start Mitch?
I take off and go. I believe so because you see where Shammy clamp on. Hey, Connor, come here. Sticker, you running around doing what you do. Come here. Me, I'll let you. All that. See, if we get off to a good start, and like we did last night, if we get off to a good start, and you got Mitch out there, then that allows us to bring them hyenas in the game. You know what I'm saying? Especially now,
The
let me put these
junkyards.
guys, yeah, them junkyard dogs, bring them in the game. You know what I'm saying? And now Shamit, Wright, Deuce, Josh, you know, hey, we still ain't used Precious. You know what I'm saying? You use these guys to come in and we get off to a good start, and they keep it contested, and force them guys to play their offense to play against our junkyard dogs, like Steph just said. When we come back in with the powerhouse, you know what I'm saying, they supposed to act accordingly and handle their business. So that's the vision that I'm getting right now. You got Mitch, you got OG, you got Bridges. Those are three defensive guys surrounding behind these other two offensive guys, and then they can also knock down shots between OG and Bridges. They can also get buckets. They can also make free throws. And then you insert Mitch amongst these guys to crash the boards, because when Mitch is in the game, what's his name? Turner is not playing below the free throw. He's playing from free throw to free throw. He's not even looking to post up. Like when he had the little guys on him he was trying to put us, you know what I'm saying, in that paint. You know what I'm saying? And that's what he's supposed to do. Put them little guys in there. But when Mitch is out there, he's not even trying to go down there. He's not even thinking about none of that. So I look for it to stay. And Indiana, you're going to have to make adjustment to try to figure something out. And whatever they try to figure out this late in the game, I think it's going to take away from their normal game.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. And shout out to JJ. Shaman and Wright are good defenders that helped change momentum last night. You think about now coming off that bench. You coming off I was gonna say Hart, but he gives us the rebounding though. His defense can be off and on. But you're coming off that bench now with Deuce, DeLon Wright, Shamit, and both Deuce and Shamit can hit threes, right? DeLon, you get right, you get the size so that you get that switchability um with him. So, hopefully, this continues, but listen, it's not just about the lineups. It's also about executing and showing up and stepping up, right? And so let's just hope that's the case tomorrow. Those lineups put you in a good position, right? It helps you out, but you still got to execute and be aggressive, be assertive, and more than one player has to step up for us tomorrow night. Anything we missed before we do last words, or any person, anybody on the team that we missed?
I think one of the keys is just the minutes played. For the first time in this series, our bench actually played more minutes than the Pacers bench. Some of that had to do with Josh Hart being on there because that's 34. But that also means that you had 40 minutes almost between the other guys. And they played 10 and we played 9. The difference in the fourth quarter down the stretch, we looked a lot fresher, a lot crisper. Moving forward, I think that that's a formula that we're going to have to utilize in this series. I just hope that we, foul trouble kind of forced Thibodeau's hands. I hope and pray that he decides that this is the winning formula and continues to rely on those guys in spots. I thought DeLon Wright had the best 2.1 assist, 0 rebound game probably in the history of the NBA. It's crazy, but he really, his defense is game changing, and you don't even need that much from him on the offensive end, which is crazy. And then Shamit was a dog, really good. So, but I actually think that extending the bench, 9-man rotation, more minutes from our bench players than theirs was an interesting swap that I never saw coming. So, and it was extraordinarily effective, and you saw it down the stretch. In my opinion, we finally closed the game.
And we got 20 points from the bench, 22 to be exact. I don't know if that ever happened in any game in the playoffs so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any last words?
So no show tonight, is that correct for Queens Court?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, happy Memorial
Tony
Day.
did want to know if you wanted to join him. He has a show at 8 p.m. if you wanted to.
Oh, it does? I'll probably go on then. 8 p.m. Eastern? I don't want to be late.
Say that again?
8 p.m. Eastern? You said
Eastern,
Tony has a show.
Eastern, yeah.
Eastern, okay. All right. I just have to know because time difference. But shout out to Queen. I love these morning shows. They're therapeutic. They're celebratory. They're everything. It's Memorial Day. Enjoy the time with your family. If you lost loved ones who died to protect our freedom, so we can have these times where we can enjoy the Knicks in peace, then God bless those folks, and God bless you. It's a good day to be a Knicks fan, and don't let us get game 4. Don't let us get game 4, Indiana, because if this series gets tied at 2, the slate is clean. They better not let us get game 4, but it's going to be a challenge of its own. We can't expect carryover. It's going to be a whole new fight, and we're going to have to do it all over again.
I believe they're only going to win one more game. I believe they're going to win one more game this series. That's it. That's what I feel, and that's where I'm at. I think I think Tom. I don't even think Tom went to sleep last night. He was so shocked at what he did, his moves he made. Now you gotta push the gas on what you did last night using these subs and these guys. You have to, because it just worked so much better. It gave guys a whole lot of more rest. It gave guys, it gave us another look, more energy, more effort, and it threw them guys off because I played their bench. So I'm really happy with it, man. And I can't wait to see the results over the next 3 games, man. I don't chop to the best 2 out of 3. That's where I'm at right now. And as long as we get back to that last one in there, I already know what's going to happen. Sis, God bless you. Appreciate you opening the show, opening the doors. I hope you all guys, you know what I'm saying, you're hitting that like button, you're subscribing, you're sharing, moving the show along. I know we don't have the pilot here, but y'all know it as you would be here, be telling y'all to make sure y'all hit that like button. So I'm
Right.
imitating him the best way I can. But happy Memorial. The captain don't set it all, man. Spend time with your loved ones, and we appreciate those that fought for us, you know what I'm saying? And we want to make sure we give them their proper, their honor and respects, you know what I'm saying? Not only just for this day, but throughout each and every day, you know what I'm saying? You need to celebrate all these holidays, they need to be taken into consideration each and every day, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, just one other thing, I know everybody's used to me probably doing something far as musically wise. I'm trying to figure out what I can do. But I did a song, I did a anthem that was crazy sick that Bill Pito and MSG Network took that. They shut it down. They told me not to let it out. They keeping that for themselves for next year. I don't know what it is they plan on doing with it, but I did something that was crazy called The Building, and the in honor and respect of how that building be looking, how it be rocking and everything. So
Nice.
I'm gonna work on something else, you know what I'm saying? But I just wanted to, let's get this series back in the perspective which I have confidence in the team doing. God bless everybody. Y'all have a beautiful Memorial Day and enjoy your day off, your time off with your loved ones.
Yep. Boogie, appreciate you rocking with us. Jeff, you
Mhm.
already know, appreciate you. Happily ever clafter.wordpress.com for his daily sports blog. He said he got a banger up there tonight. Jeff, can you put in your email address and then they come to your email? Do you know if that's an option?
Um, I'm not sure. I know that you can email subscribe to the on the WordPress site. You can get the articles in email. I know that.
That's what
I'm
I'm.
not.
That's what I mean. That's what I
Yeah, you
mean. Because
can.
you know my condition. You know my
Yeah.
condition. But if I set that up and it's coming to my
Yes.
professional email, not even the BK step, it got to come to my professional
Yes. You
email.
can do that
That
for sure.
okay, perfect.
But sis, hey sis, hey, please don't use your conditions. Please don't, not right now. Please just send that man my phone number, my info. Captain, get at me.
Okay,
Please send him my information. Please don't use your conditions. Just send him the number.
I will. I will send him your number. I'll send him Tony number. Tony told me to give it to you as well, Jeff.
Yeah,
Um,
I
Hey, God
have
bless.
Tony's number.
I'm
You
ready to
too.
ride out, y'all. Ride
Yeah.
out. I'm strapped down in the truck the whole time. I'm
all right,
riding out,
all right.
y'all.
We about to get out of here as well. We'll be back. The Knicks play what
Tuesday, Thursday.
Tuesday.
So I don't know what you're gonna do. We're gonna do a Wednesday show.
Um, I would like to do a Wednesday show if you guys are available. Plus Thursday, I'm gonna be I'm traveling again, so I won't I'll be catching the
Yeah.
Knicks in a hotel Thursday night.
I have an elders meeting, but hopefully it won't take too long, and I'll hop on right after. So you'll have
Perfect. So we'll do that Wednesday, and then Wednesday morning we'll do the recap.
hopefully tied at 2. Let's go, Knicks. Come on.
We got listen. The Knicks found their mojo and their confidence with that win.
I
I'm
hope
telling
so.
you, we're gonna see a different Knicks team in Game 4, and I'm
I
here
hope
for it.
so.
Shout out to everybody in the chat, including David Smith. I appreciate everybody. Top notch team, nostalgic Nick, JJ. Who else we had in the house? Pam Willis, I appreciate you, sis. DJ Cash, 1984, sneaking in. Appreciate you. East Blue Drew, Tori B, appreciate you, sis. Tim, appreciate you. He's looking for a Knicks Timberwolves final. Kevin Bergen, I appreciate you. I'm not going to get to everybody. Knicks Nation, 112. Tony Snots, Knicks Real Talk, my God Divine. We both started out at MBK. I appreciate you, brother, stopping by. Until next time, family.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's her.
shine. Dope soul,
Where you at? Where you at?
dope soul,
Where you at? Where you at?
dope soul.